Hello and welcome to all of you astrology friends. This is a video for all the signs about the eclipses. And it is now, specifically this video is about the eclipse on the 14th of October, round about that time, 14th of October of 2023. What is this eclipse all about? Where does it fall in the chart? For each and every single sign, all the 12 signs. And before I even start with this video about these eclipses, because October is a phenomenal month of opportunities, absolutely. And for the last time of the year, I have made a promotion. So I'm going to say it now so that it's quickly out of the way. I put a link below of my page on the website where you can get a promotion that is a personal reading, 20-minute reading, and it's all about the eclipses. Where does it fall in your chart? Not only the eclipse of the 14th of October, but also the other eclipse on the 28th of October in Taurus. So not only the Libra one, but also the Taurus one. And I'm going to have a look at those areas of your life where it falls, if there is a planet or a point, an ascendant, a midheaven, where it falls, what does it mean, what is the interpretation, where do you need to go in life with the North Node, what is it that you need to let go of. I'm all going to prop it in those 20 minutes. So check it out if you want to. And I've been doing the eclipses for a long time now. And I find myself, I have to say that I learn each and every single time again around those eclipses. And so check it out if you want a personal reading, because these readings here that we do on YouTube is of course not personal, it's collective, but it's very, very interesting if you want to learn about astrology. Anyway, let's have a look at this time, eclipse time. So it's those periods of time where, and I said it in the October horoscopes, in the monthly horoscopes as well, but where you have opportunities to, in this respect, so with these eclipses, it's a lot about change and transformation. We astrologers talk about that a lot, but now it's specifically that energy for sure. And the thing is that we really, with those eclipses, it's a lot about fated events. It's a lot about karma, for sure. It's like things are sitting there, they are ready. And we know that we have power in this life. We know that we co-create. We also know that we don't all have the power, because otherwise we would be gods, right? If I would have the power to just, if I'm having a Saturn transit, I'm just taking the planet and putting it somewhere else. That's not in our power. But we are powerful. And we are going to see that in the month of October, because it's for the people who have been in a rut for such a long time, the people who have been having huge problems that cannot be solved, or that were just dormant, you could say, those dormant crises. There is an opportunity to break through. I'll tell you why. These eclipses, they always belong to a Saros cycle. I made that video about the Saros cycle. I'm going to put a link below in the description box, not only of the website and the promotion, but also of that video. Why? It's based on the research of Bernadette Brady, an Australian astrologer, I think she is, and she did a lot of research around those eclipses. And she found out that they all belong to a cycle, and she did the interpretation of the initial eclipse where the eclipses belong to. You could say these eclipses of October that we're having are belonging to a Saros cycle. It is called 7 South. You know, it's a name of a family, you could say, a Saros cycle that it belongs to. And once an eclipse was formed, and many, many, many thousands of years ago, and that had a certain natal chart. And she looks at that. And of course, when you start with that, you start with the core. You start in the interpretation of eclipses. I always start to look at the Saros cycle. That's why I'm doing these videos, to give that information and that message as well. If you're interested in astrology, you want to know what the eclipse is all about, start with looking at the cycle. And then look at what's happening on the date of the eclipse. So if we're doing that, what are we seeing? What is the message? Saros cycle south is a cycle that has the vibe, you could say. So when it was born, that eclipse, it had the vibe of Mars square Pluto. And the eclipses trined that energy, trined the Pluto. So actually, that means it has that energy, that flavor of Mars, Pluto, and transformation. And Mars is, of course, a very angry planet. When it's with Pluto, it's like double whammy, so to speak, like really in a positive way. You can use that anger, you can use the energy to Pluto, to create Pluto, which is transformation. So that is the background of this eclipse. And she writes, Bernadette Brady, of that eclipse, the interpretation of that there could be a high speed now by fixing and the ability to fix big problems, that they can be solved all of a sudden and quite easy now, because a dormant crisis can be suddenly have a breakthrough with a high speed. So there's movement here available. So that is the core of this eclipse. It's not an easy one, because Mars square Pluto is not an easy aspect. And it's all about, you know, going through those things that you fear the most, but that you know is going to be very authentic, which is Pluto. And it's almost like it's a now or never moment. It's like with the knife on the throat, like, what are you going to do when the knife is on your throat? It's that kind of energy. What are you going to do? Are you going to, you know, run away? Or you're going to stiffen? Or are you going to get into your power and get your power back? This is about getting your power back, for sure, for a lot of people. And I love that. I love Plutonian energy. I have it in my horoscope, Sun conjunct Pluto. I mean, on the midheaven. So I'm all about Pluto. It's not easy, though, because it's facing the darkness. It's facing your shadow. But when you put light on the shadow, it's gone. It disappears. So this is really not for the lighthearted people, right? This is really serious and intense and deep. So what an opportunity we have here. And now if we kind of how do you say that? Extrapolating? No, I don't know. Anyway, if you bring that back to today, on the 4th, not today, but on the 14th of October of 2023, around that time, what's going on there in the heavens, I mean, not only with the eclipse, which will be the sun and the moon together at 21 degrees of Libra, together with the south node at 24 degrees of Libra. That gives you an interpretation of letting go, which is the south node, letting go of old karma that relates to relationships, Libra, that relates to attitudes towards relationships that are too much of, oh, I'm giving, and I'm neglecting the self, which is the opposite sign of Aries, right? Of course, it's all about balance, you could say. But if we go over the top with the giving, it's not good. If we go over the top with the being selfish, it's not good either. But that's not the point here. The point is now that we all are going to have an opportunity to drastically change this for once and for all. Now, guess what's happening as well, or just happened before that eclipse on the 14th of October? Mars square Pluto. That is a beautiful synchronicity of that first eclipse that happened, which was also with Mars square Pluto. So we have a double whammy of a Mars square Pluto energy that just happened before the eclipse, right? So it seems like we were all going to feel that push towards something, you know, to change something very drastically. And we know that our actions, Mars, will have consequences that are lives transforming. For instance, if you give up your job in a corporate world and to become an astrologer, you know, a Mars square Pluto energy can force you to get out of that and to start that astrology work, right? Which is so transformative because it's going to change your life. It's not going to be the same anymore. The same for someone who's been in a toxic relationship, whether it is a friendship relationship, whether it is with your spouse, with a girlfriend, boyfriend, you name it, sibling, neighbor. With this energy, there is an opportunity, if you think that it was so toxic and you enabled the toxicity, there's an opportunity to say no, to step out of it and to say, thank you very much. I'm going to go for the North Node in Aries and to do good for me for once and for all. And yes, it's going to be confrontational. And yes, I will have to give up on connection. But what I'm going to gain is bigger than that at this particular moment. So it's really that, you could say, that paradox between having your own authenticity, which is Aries, your individuality, your independence, versus connection, which is Libra. So if we have too much of a connection, we lose our authenticity because we kind of please and we kind of want to please a bit too much often because we are very much putting value on what other people think of us, not so much on who we are and to express that. So there's an imbalance, and it's to restore this basically. And sometimes we have times in our lives when those nodes would be shifted, for instance, but it's not the case now, when we have the South Node in Aries, where we have to give in a little bit of our individuality and to go a little bit more towards connection, because otherwise we will get isolated. And yes, we will be free and can do whatever we want to do, and we will, but we're not going to be able to connect anymore. We're going to isolate. So it's always something, isn't it, to get that balance. But now there is this huge energy of letting go. When an eclipse like this, the solar eclipse in Libra, happens with the South Node, it's about a letting go, first and foremost. What is it that you will have to give up, that you will, the price you could say that you have to pay in order to get more individuality, in order to be yourself more, in order to be more honest and authentic towards the self. So, and that's going to restore the balance, but sometimes you have to do a bit of the extreme things or a bit more to out of the comfort zone before you can get the balance again. So what an extraordinary time this is. And so yes, Mars squared Pluto just before that eclipse. And of course the eclipses, the one on the 14th of October, and also I'm going to do a separate video of the one in Taurus on the 28th of October, they're all ruled by Venus. So it's all about relationships. So the team that we had with the Venus retrograde is not done. We worked on it, hopefully, right? Some did, some didn't, but it's going to come back here. It's continuing. It's a story, and the story continues. And it's a lot about this Venus square Uranus that we had before, right? Which is all about the change in our values, the authenticity of what we want, and the enjoyment that we want, the love that we want, the resources that we want. And now we are here, done the things that we needed to do, and letting go of attitudes, of energies that we have to let go of. And that is what this eclipse is all about. These huge breakthroughs that are available for us. And because the ruler of it is Venus, it's in Virgo. So Virgo is really about the detail. So it's about the little things as well. And it loves it. It loves to analyze. It loves to look at where the details are not going well. So that is what this is all about. And let's have a look at all the signs. In what area of life is this eclipse falling? And in what area of life we have that energy of a change of attitude towards, as I said, this Libra energy. For Aries, and I'm going to do this quick because it's very obvious. For Aries, this is very obvious. It's your relationships. So there it is, this new moon this new moon on steroids, you could say. Another thing, I want to keep this in the collective before I go to the Aries sign. What I forgot to say is that the South Node that transits Libra now from 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24 degrees of Libra, all those planets are transiting there. The personal planets like Mars went over it just before the eclipse. Then the moon will go over it, the sun, Mercury. It's all going to go over that South Node. And that has that energy of fatedness. And it has also the energy of the cycle is like, it's like a spiral, right? It's done, the cycle. It's like the number 9. It's done here. And off we go again towards a new cycle. So a lot of endings we will see. A lot of endings in relationships, for sure. A lot of endings in connections that are no longer working for us. And the endings are there on a karmic level as well. So maybe that can be, when you feel sad about all of this, that things are happening the way that they are happening. What can give you a bit of a, consolation, so to speak, is that it's meant to be. And I don't like to say that quite often because then people think, oh, we can't do anything. It's like the victim role. But these times, with these energies, it is like relationships, situations, jobs, they all have an expiration date. And it's about that. But we have a deal in this as well with this Mars-Pluto energy, remember? So we can make this happen for sure if we know deep down inside that we have to go for that, for our own good. And for our own good and the good of everyone, right? So now Aries. So for Aries, this is happening in the opposite sign of Libra, which is your 7th house, which is a lot about relationships. So you definitely, if you are single for a long time, that could be like this karmic soulmate kind of connection that you're getting here. And it's going to be really very meaningful for you and really making a huge shift in your consciousness, but also in the way that your attitude towards relationships, for sure. So this is a good sign for a new connection. If you are in a connection, and if you are in a connection where you say, yes, there's more pluses than minuses, there could be that upgrade, that you shift into the attitude, the changes that you made, because the North Node is in your sign. You're going to step up for your needs. You're going to step up and you're going to do the redoing of the balance. And if you have a good connection and that other person understands it, and it's also going to do that, or maybe that other person is saying like, hey, I'm giving here 80% and you're giving 20. So it's the rest, it's the change of that, the restoration, you could say. So if both of the parties want to bring it to the table and to work on it, it's going to be fine. If you are one of those people that know this relationship, it's toxic, it's not healthy, not for them, not for me, I'm enabling the toxicity, then this could be, yes, the time of breaking up a relationship for sure for some Aries people. But in the long run, it's for the better for you and the people involved here. So very important, especially when you have planets around 21 degrees of Aries, you're going to feel this very strongly. Taurians, this is your 6th house. So this is your day-to-day life. This is your work. This is your health. This is your habits that you're doing, your routines that you're doing. There needs to end something that is enabling you not to express yourself, not to relax enough. There's something that needs to go there before you can have this new start. And it can have a connection with people because it's in Libra after all. And you are ruled by Venus. So you will feel this a lot, although it is in an area of your life that you could say is not that important. It can really give you that energy of like, ooh, I'm transforming here. There is a part of me that is dying. And that has that relationship with your routines. So cut them out. If you know that they're not good, don't put your head in the sand and keep on going. It's good for your health as well, by the way. Geminis, this is a good solar eclipse for you. Why? Because the solar eclipse is in an air sign of Libra and you are an air sign. So it's lovely energy, smoothly energy, and it's all happening in your 5th house. So there is something in your 5th house of self-expression, of creativity, of enjoyment that you need to let go of in order to start all new. So there could be like toxicity of a lover, for instance. You kind of cut it out and you can start all over again on a new level. When it comes to your heart, it could also mean that a child of yours goes through a huge transformation, that a phase in their life is ending now. Maybe they just ended school, or maybe they're just going to start school. You know, some of those phases are represented then by your children. Or you want to start a new project. You want to start your own business, but first something else needs to go, which is your attitude towards all of that. Your attitude in a negative way towards joy, towards self-expression. And once you do that, you can start in a new way. Cancerians, this is deep for you, especially if you have planets around 21 degrees of Cancer. You're going to feel it very strongly then, because it's at the core of your chart. It's in the 4th house. So your home is changing. It can be literally that you sell your home, or you change something there. You are incredibly wanting to say goodbye to an old style that is not longer suiting you when it comes to emotional security. And often a home is a part of that, not always though. On another level, if you're saying, Veerle, I just bought a new home, then it is more about your emotions. Like there's something in the family that is changing. There's something that you're letting go of, and that is good for you to let go of. And so that you can start new with your emotional security, so that you are responsible for your emotions. It's taking back that power basically for you. Very powerful. And people are not seeing that, but it's what's going on with you within. Leos, this is happening in your 3rd house. This is quite nice because it sextiles your energy. And the 3rd house is all about, it's a communication house. It's the house of buying, selling, publishing, traveling, short trips, neighbors, siblings, people in the neighborhood. There's something that needs to shift. There could be a connection with a sibling, a neighbor that needs to be revisited and reviewed, and that you need to let go of. A toxic pattern that you need to let go of. And so that you can restore that connection, whatever it is, for better or for worse. There's a new beginning here. It could be also traveling that you're preparing, a study that you are preparing, or an ending of a study, and a new way of thinking that is emerging itself here. It could also simply mean, when you do your own business, a new website. So you have to break down the old website again, right? First, I mean, not again, but first you have to break down the old website in order to make a new one. So you kind of all demolish it. And therefore, it's a new beginning. It's a new way of how you communicate with others on that level. It's a very good energy when you have your own business, by the way, because your PR, it's a good time here to just do it in a total different way. You have to finish and say goodbye to the old way for a new way to come in. Maybe you didn't work with social media, now you're going to. Or maybe you work too much with social media and you're going to do different things, maybe in the neighborhood, maybe doing some workshops in your neighborhood. But first, the old way needs to go. It's that kind of energy. Virgos, this is all about your second house. This is all about your worth. What is your worth? And your resources. The resources that are no longer suiting you. And I'm talking about tangible things like cars and computers and books and clothes and whatnot that are absolutely not vibrating on your level anymore. A car that breaks down all of the time, a computer that is so old that you can't even work with it anymore. It needs to go before you can have that new beginning of better resources. Resources that are going to help you with the connection with you and with others, because it's in Libra, but also that is going to help you that you see your worth now. You're going to, like, for instance, 10 dresses that you like, like this, you're going to put them out of the closet and buy 1 or 2 dresses that you absolutely adore. It's that vibe. So also with money, there could be a change of attitude towards money. Maybe you have been in the attitude of scarcity when it comes to money. Like, oh yes, it's all the inflation, and you know how Virgos worry all of the time. Now it's a shift. Like you say, hey, yes, I can keep on complaining about the world, that it's inflation and I can't help it because, it's out of my control. I don't want to be a victim anymore. I'm going to change my attitude. I'm going to say, hey, there's abundance. If there's inflation, I'm going to make sure that more money comes in, right? So because I have no control over that, I have control over the fact I can get more money in. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it work. And I'm going to start today. That's this new moon. Simply the attitude of, yes, there's abundance coming my way. And you can have a second job, or you can have going for a promotion in a different company, for instance. Always better, always better. And quicker. If you want to make more money, they say go to a different company, right? Instead of asking for a promotion of 1% of salary raise, whatever. This is the energy. It's on another level. It's not always finances. On another level, it's about what you eat as well, what you put into your body, the second house. You could totally change that. You could say, yeah, as from today, something needs to go. I'm quitting sugar. I'm quitting maybe alcohol. I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore in the week, whatever. Or I'm not going to eat chocolate anymore. Whatever it is, there's something around diet that you could change as well. And that there is this whole new beginning there of you raise the bar when it comes to your self-worth. A huge raising of the bar. I like it. Librans, of course, everything that I said in the beginning is applicable for you, especially if you do have, happy birthday, by the way, but if you do have a birthday around that time, this is a very huge year for you, because for all the Libras as well, around this 14th of October, it's an opportunity of deleting someone, not someone. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, of deleting something. It could be someone as well out of your life, but I think it's more around you and your attitude around yourself that you're changing. I've been talking about that for quite a while, that people pleaser syndrome, you could say, stepping out of it. And yes, people are going to react. So yes, it could mean that people are not going to like it so much, but you're prepared now because you know that you're doing it for you and you're uncomfortable, but you're comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's the whole thing. And some of your relationships, some Librans who are in shitty relationships, yes, they have an opportunity here to say goodbye. Absolutely. The ones that are single, they could definitely attract someone new. Definitely, with your not there in the 7th house of relationships and with you shifting so much. It's very often, isn't it, when we change our personality, which is not an easy thing to do. But when we change huge patterns of our personality, like the people pleaser pattern, we're still going to be, you know, if you're Libra rising, for instance, or a sun in Libra, you're still going to have that for the rest of your life, that you want to consider other people. There's nothing wrong about that, but it's going over the top. That is not so good for you. And you're just having an opportunity here to stop that. How amazing is that? And with Mars, that was in your sign. Well, still is as I'm recording this, but before the 14th, you know, you had this Mars in your sign squaring up to Pluto. So do draw the line where you have to. You've got that area, that time here now. Scorpios, this is all happening behind the scenes. This is happening in your 12th house, which is a very unconscious house. So the 12th house is where we store those old patterns, and we don't even know that we have those patterns. And here is an opportunity to get rid of it. So when I see those eclipses happening in the 12th house, what I often see is that people and especially because Mars is in your sign when this happens, so it's like you're in your element, so to speak. You could have said goodbye to old patterns and drastically changed them, and patterns that have to do with addictions, self-undoing. And you know what they say about Scorpios? They can go to the extremes of that. But the thing is, that once they go through that pain, and once they go through that part of that process where they learn how to heal from that, they are transformed. And it's that kind of energy for you, where you have an opportunity to say goodbye to an old habit, an old attitude that was very unhealthy for you. So kick it out, get it out of your system. Absolutely. Sagittarians, this is happening in your 11th house. So there is either a person, a friendly person, a friend of yours, or there is a goal of yours that needs to go. It needs to go. It can be one or the other or both. It depends on your story. So it can also mean, if you're single, for instance, it could mean that the friendship is ending, but there is a transformation, you know, with this Mars square Pluto that went on. There is a transformation of a friendship going into a romance. Possible with this energy. On another level, when you have had a friendship that was toxic for you and crossed boundaries, or you cross boundaries, or whatever, there's an opportunity to stop that. And it depends on what that other person, because it's in Libra, it depends on what that other person is going to do. If that other person says, yeah, we're going to stop the toxicity, then wow, this can be a new level of your connection. If that other person says, no, I keep on going, pushing your boundaries, then this is going to stop. You're not going to be able to wanting to be able to put up with that anymore. So really much is fate here involved as well. Fate around relationships with friends. The same for an opportunity or a goal that you have for the future. Maybe it was not the right goal for you. Maybe it wasn't, you know. A lot of people sometimes are very much harming themselves when they are going for a goal that is no longer suiting them. It's outgrown, it's outworn, whatever it is. And also it can mean when you're doing that, it's kind of a release, it's kind of freedom, and you have more time to go towards the North Node, where it is in that 5th house, you know, that feeling of freedom and a feeling of expressing yourself, enjoying yourself. And maybe you're going to say goodbye to a friend circle because you want to follow your heart and you want to go for that love relationship that maybe your friends are not so keen on. And it's supposed to be like that, you know, with the North Node in the 5th house, you're supposed to go for your heart and not listen too much to friends and to like-minded people, especially when you're only doing it for them and not for you. If you're like in that, you're a student, for instance, and you have to choose and to pick a study, and all of your friends are choosing, I don't know, doing biochemistry or whatever. And you feel like, oh, to be if I'm not going to do it as well, that study, I'm going to lose them. Well, it's better to do what you want to do here in this kind of energy. And who knows that they're not going to go all of them, and you're going to make new ones. For sure, this is new, making space for new energy of friends. Absolutely. But also for old friendships to step into a new energy level. As I said, could be romance. It could be just a better way of connecting with each other in a different way. So you could be going like everyone's going for the biochemistry. I'm going for, studying economy. It's something that they don't like. And I didn't study economy at all, but I want to do it. You see, it's really that going for your heart. And I really love that. Capricorns, and especially the ones who've got planets around 21 degree of Capricorn, you're going to feel this a lot. Your cardinal sign, this is happening in a cardinal sign as well, the sign of Libra, and it's happening in the highest point of your horoscope. So there could be, the highest point of your horoscope is your career. If you don't have a career, it's your second ascendant, how people see you, how you want to be seen in the world, the energy that you exude and that you put out in the world, so to speak. It's also a parent or your parents. So there could be a parent going through a shift, going through, of course, a very important shift of transformation that has an effect on you. It could also mean a career, an ending of a career simply, and a starting and making a space for a new one. It could also mean like something has ended here, like people that retiring. I see that a lot. An eclipse in the 10th house, and specifically with the South Node, it's a letting go of how people saw you, like someone who worked and now someone who's retiring. It's a huge shift. It's a shift also in status. So from divorced to dating again, or from married to divorced, or whatever your situation is, there could be a huge shift here as well. Aquarians, this is very nice for you because you are like the Librans. This is a fellow air sign. And so this is happening in your 9th house. This is very positive for you. It's like the 9th house has to do with travel, with publishing, with your mind, your view upon life. And it's like there's a view going. It's a letting go of an old paradigm, right? It can be very spiritual here and very exciting at the same time because it's a letting go of an old paradigm that was no longer suiting you. Maybe you had a paradigm of, oh yes, I have to work hard to get the money, and now you learn that you don't have to work hard to get the money. You have to be smart to get the money, and you have to be feeling that you're worth it, and so on and so on. And this whole shift, you could say this is not an important transit, but it is, because the 9th house is that house. It's the pair of glasses that you are wearing, whether and it makes such a difference to your life, doesn't it? When you have like black pair of glasses on or pink, it makes a difference, doesn't it? And now there is the way that you look at the world. There's something that is going. Maybe you always believed in something and now you don't anymore. And that's it. It gives you a whole shift for the rest of your life. Maybe you always believed in the fact that you have to sacrifice yourself in relationships. Maybe that was your belief that, hey, yes, to be a good person, I'm exaggerating here to give you a bit of the explanation. To be a good person, I have to do this or that. And now you're seeing no. So it's as simple as that. It's an energy of thoughts of how you view life that is totally shifting. That doesn't happen a lot with people. You know what I say for when there are elections, that we don't change that a lot. Of course, there's always exceptions, right? But normally we always stay the same. That has to do with our view upon life. But here are the things that we are convinced about, the things that we believe in, our belief systems are totally, there's one that needs to go. It could relate to relationships a lot. It could relate to how you deal. All men are cheaters, for instance. You can say that to yourself. All men are cheaters. Of course, you could, if that is your belief system, you know how dangerous that is. And you can say, yeah, but it's true here and there. Well, the mind, the brain is going to look for it, right? That's what the brain is doing. It's going to give you proof of what you believe. And your belief is your reality. Well, now you could say, hey, no, I know a person, or maybe it can't, no, there must be at least one man out there in the whole world who's not cheating. At least. And that's your new belief system. And that changes your whole life. So I like it for you, Aquarians, for sure. Last but not least, Pisceans, this is happening in your 8th house. This is deep. This is a deep, transformational kind of energy for you. Because the 8th house is the house of transformation itself. It's the house of death and rebirth. So there is like, and because it's in Libra, it has to do with relationships as well. There is a shift of fears that you might have had around relationships that you can let go of now. Because of the digging that you did, because of the psychological research that you did on yourself, and to release that fear. The 8th house is the house of fears, imaginative fears, and it makes you a strong person when you are battling it and when you are dealing with it and when you are dealing the demons. That's why the 8th house, it's of course associated with Scorpio. That's why we say of Scorpio that it's a very strong sign, because it feels so much, but it's gonna do it anyways. It's gonna conquer it. It's gonna tackle it. It's a very combative kind of energy. So if there has been a fear of relationships for you, a fear of intimacy, now it's time to release, and a person could come into your life where you do have that intimacy with, that you've been craving for so long. So yes, this could mean a new relationship on a deeper level. It could also mean the ending of a relationship when you have been in one that was so toxic, that was bringing you down, that was bringing them down at the same time. So here you have that energy of endings and a new, fresh beginning as well. And of course, Pisceans, they are known for their very empathic energy. So if you combine that with this energy of Libra, the people pleaser, a lot of Pisceans are waking up at the same time with this Neptune in their sign, that it might be a bit fake, but they feel it. They feel it, that also they are worthy of a good connection and a healthy one. And that starts with healthy boundaries. And that starts with 50-50. Putting in 50%, putting in 50. You know, some Pisceans, they do sacrifice themselves. But I do know other Pisceans, they don't invest anything in a connection. And then they expect so much. It's not good either. So it's like going on both ways, that they are kind of restoring that balance between the give and the take. And then true intimacy, true love, true seeing each other is possible. And then you're out of that isolation state that Neptune in the 1st house can, you know, in the sign of Pisces, can really be a bit challenging in that respect. There you are, dear astrology friends. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the eclipses, check out the website, and all the best to you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.